So I would like to open with the actors, and the question I'm going to ask, and I'm actually going to answer it first, is how did you get into the business or your first job doing looping or ADR? Here's how I got into ADR. I was 19 or 20 years old, and I was interviewing with a theatrical agent. And I'm sitting in the lobby, and you know how your agents have pictures of their clients all over the walls? And pictures all over the walls of dead people. I mean, I knew all these actors, and none of them were alive. And I go in, and it's a husband and wife team, and he's like 100, and she's like 90. And I sit down, and he looks at my resume, and he sees voiceover, and he goes, "It says here that you do voiceover work. Do you loop?" And I didn't know what looping was. I thought he was asking me if I drank. And I said, "Well, you know, socially." And he goes, "What?" I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Looping for movies." I said, "I don't know what that is." So he asked me for my demo. He gave my demo to an ADR casting director who called me up. He was auditioning a movie called American Ninja 3. And I auditioned for the third lead, and I got the job. Now, the reason why, and I revoiced the character throughout the whole film, and the reason they wanted him revoiced was because he was this all-American martial arts expert, but he was from Malibu, you know, and he sounded like he was from Malibu, and they wanted him to sound all-American. And I had never done ADR or looping, and I had no idea what it was all about. And I said to the guy who hired me, "How does this work?" And he goes, "You get up to the mic, and on the fourth beep, you just read the line and do it." I said, "Okay." Beep, 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 no fourth beep. And he goes, "Okay, just do it again. Beep, 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 no fourth beep." And I'm starting to sweat. And he goes, "Okay, you're going to get it. Beep, 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 no fourth beep." And he pulls me aside. He goes, "Why aren't you talking?" I said, "Where's the fourth beep?" He said, "It's imaginary." I said, "Why didn't you tell me that?" He goes, "I didn't know you didn't know that." I said, "I've never done this before." At the end of the day, I finally figured it out. I walked up to him. I said, "Thank you so much for this work. Don't ever hire me again. This is too much stress." And he said that our job is to get the performance out of you. Your job is to act. It was my fault for not explaining technically how this is done because you did tell us you'd never done this before. So that was my first job that I ever did in ADR, and that guy hired me for 2 or 3 films a week for many years. I've done hundreds of films, dozens of TV shows, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's how I happened to get into the world of ADR and looping.
Hi, everybody. So I got into looping because about 25 years ago when I was a child, I went to what was it called?
It was SAG Conservatory.
SAG Conservatory. Does anybody go to those? Well, I got a career out of one, so I'd suggest you go. So Bob Bergen was doing a seminar on animation. And as you can hear, I have a very young voice. And I was doing on-camera acting at the time, doing, you know, kid stuff and everything, and commercials and whatnot. But I was always interested in voiceover because I sing, major singer. So I went to the SAG Conservatory, and Bob was up there talking away and talking about animation and having us do fun stuff. And then he said, well, somebody asked a question and said, what's this thing about loop groups? And you know, what are they? And Bob says, oh, well, it's a special group of little actors. They work on special shows. They'll never let you in. Don't worry about it. Let's move on to the next question.
And she's in the back taking notes like you wouldn't believe. Right back there, and she's just writing.
I'm like, what do you mean you can't get in? So I had actually talked to one of the moderators that was on his panel and said, hi, I'm interested in looping. And she says, oh my God, you sound like a kid. And so I'm like, well, okay. So she invited me in to watch a loop group session. And I was amazed by watching these actors get up and sync dialogue to the picture. And I thought, oh, I'm going to do this forever. I found my career. I knew in that moment what I wanted to do because I just loved it. I knew it was me. When I was a little kid, I used to be able to sit in front of the TV, and when they'd have commercials and cartoons, and I'd voice them. I'd sit there and talk with them and do character voices with them. And little did I know later on that would turn into my career. But that's how I got into voiceover, and then I started a loop group. And then
Would you explain what that means? What is a loop group?
That's what you all want to know, huh? Okay, so a loop group. I bring in a group of actors who are voice actors, who have amazing improv skills, and we fill in the background of the film. So let's say we have a big film and everybody's at a restaurant scene, right? You have waiters running around in the background, and you have your two principals sitting here at the table talking. Well, when they film the movie, as you guys know, you've been on set, most of the time extras aren't saying anything, right? So we have to put a wallet track in there to make it sound like the restaurant is real, as well as if the waiter was walking up to the table behind your principal saying, well, what was that? You see it, it's so clearly, but you don't hear it. So I'll have an actor get up and say, hi, would you like some water? Right? And we'll loop that little piece in to fit the waiter. So if we're at a hospital, you'll hear hospital PAs. At an airport, you'll hear the airport PAs. And then when you hear the big crowds in the background just talking away, that's us talking away or screaming or yelling or being aliens or whatever the movie's about, we become the background to bring it back to life.
How many
Does that
movies?
explain it?
How many movies have you done?
Oh my God, about over 400.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool. All right.
So I started, when I first came here to Los Angeles trying to break into as an actress, I was doing a lot of children's theater, puppeteering, so I got to know some of the people that worked for Jim Henson, and they helped me get on a Disney show, then they helped me then they knew I spoke a lot of languages, and they were like, oh, we know this show called Live from Baghdad. They need someone who really can help the actress pronounce the right words. And it's just interesting how, like, every time you do a little job, it leads to something bigger and bigger. And over there, I met one awesome actor. I think he's here today, Sam Sacco. And he knew I spoke classical Arabic, which a lot of people don't speak it. If they are born here to an Arabic family, they can speak whatever dialect their family's from, but the one level of Arabic that everyone understands is hard to find people that actually speak, read, and write. I happen to be one of them. And Sam saw that in me, and he got me on a job called Hidalgo. Ever since we've been, like, he introduced me to other people, like Terri. I always get referred. People are like, wait, you speak Arabic, Hebrew, German, Italian? Yeah, we save 4 contracts by hiring you. So yeah, so I happen to be one of the very few Screen Actors Guild members who speak both Arabic and Hebrew. And so that's how I mostly get my jobs. When you see an explosion going on in the Middle East, that's usually me screaming, I'm gonna kill every one of you in the village. So